Hello, boys and girls. It is July 16th, 2012, and this is the latest installment of the Monday News Rundown. I'm your host, Thepromise. This week, I think we have a pretty wide spectrum of topics to cover on four and a half systems. 4.5. I say 4.5. That might make itself apparent a little later on. Pretty diverse set of topics. I'm pretty excited, so let's just jump into it. Keeping in line with my last Monday News Rundown, Sony has acquired more streaming services for their PSN network. They have actually acquired 2 anime streaming services, one called Crunchyroll, which, for those of you who do not know, is mainly focuses on anime and Korean dramas. And then Viz has a new channel known as Neon Alley. Now, I had thought that Viz did primarily manga, if not all manga, but apparently they do anime too, so that's pretty neat. And as I mentioned, Crunchyroll does have anime and Korean drama channels, and they're actually 2 separate pricing tiers. So it's $6.95 for either one of those channels per month, or you can do $11.95 per month for both of them. And if you do subscribe, it grants you access to HD content on Crunchyroll's website, as well as some early access to new episodes. And I believe only by subscribing are you allowed to get an app that works on both the Droid and the iOS phone systems. So that's pretty neat. And Neon Alley is $6.99 per month. So those will both be on the PSN sometime in the future. So go to your calendar, flip open to sometime in the future, check it off, save the date. Speaking of PlayStation 3, they are coming out with a new Slim model. Why? I don't know. I didn't think the current Slim model was doing well enough to warrant a redesign, but I guess Sony decided if they don't have 5 iterations of a system per generation, they're not doing their job correctly. And I've seen pictures. It looks roughly like the current Slim model. It looks like it might have either a top-loading disc tray, or you can just slide it down and look at the disc while it spins. I'm not 100% sure. No concrete data is really out on this system yet. If it is a top-loading disc tray, it will save you a little bit of money because they don't have to pay for the the motorized input eject system. So that'll probably save you a couple bucks. But really, what's going to save you the most money right now is probably the hard drive options. Now, they listed a SKU at 16 gigs, which for anyone who's ever owned, let's say, an 8 gig Xbox 360, it's not enough. Even 16 gig, which is double that, is not enough for a system that is primarily focused on online content. 16 gigs is barely enough for a flash drive these days, much less a gaming system. So, I mean, they listed this SKU. If they do put it out, I feel like the only person who would buy it is someone who is relatively uneducated on how fucked they are if they do get a 16 gig model, and they just buy it based on the price point, which is kind of shitty, but it happens. So question mark next to that. I hope they don't, but if they do, I hope people don't get conned into buying it strictly by price point alone. The second model is a 250 gig, which is the standard for the Slim model right now, and the third one is a 500 gig hard drive, which, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think any console has come stock with a half a terabyte worth of hard drive space yet. So they would be the first. So if they do, congrats, you're the first to have a massive amount of space on a system that you're probably not going to use at all, unless you have every game in the PSN. Who knows? They haven't set price points or release dates for any of the models yet. It's kind of breaking news, and I guess we'll just have to stay tuned and see how much they're going to charge us for the same system they've had for 6 years. And keeping in line with the PS3 theme, for those of you who have a PlayStation Vita, I hope you know actually, that there's a remote play feature on the Vita that allows you to interact with the PS3. For those of you who don't know, pretty much what it does is you're actually playing the game on your PS3, but if your Vita and your PS3 are hooked up to the same network, you can pretty much stream the video data from your gameplay session to your Vita. So you're effectively playing the game with your Vita, not on your Vita, but with your Vita. Your Vita is the controller, and the screen is streaming the video feed, which is pretty neat. I mean, they've showed it to work with some television aspects of the PSN, some original PlayStation titles, some PSN only titles, but recently they've been showing it working with actual games. And when I say actual games, I mean PlayStation 3 games. I believe last week was someone demoing Left 4 Dead 2 on it, which looked phenomenal. Looked like a lot of fun to play. And then more recently, they were showing on YouTube someone playing Skyrim on it. And I mean, Skyrim is, for right now, really the benchmark of what a really good game is. Some people like it, some people don't like it, some people love it. But I mean, I would say that on the whole, right now, I mean that's what a good game is measured by in terms of quality and content. So the fact that someone's playing a game of that caliber, on the PlayStation Vita is really cool. And I don't know why Sony hasn't marketed this aspect of the system more, because I feel like it really could be a selling point for a system that is already on its way to failing. Like, I'm not saying that it's dead. I'm not saying that it's dying, but I mean, more than a year since it's been released, it hasn't generated the kind of momentum that I think it would need, to sustain itself. Yeah. Even though the PS3 is likely to be replaced in the next 2 years, that doesn't mean the Vita will. And it definitely could have connectivity features with, let's just say the PS4. So you don't need it to fail now when you can still use it in the future. And I mean, this kind of remote play feature could be a huge marketing angle. I mean, before you're kind of like, yeah, but do I really want to play Fat Princess on a PlayStation Vita? No, but do you want to play Skyrim? Sure, that sounds fucking amazing. Let me just sit on my couch, lay down, and play some Skyrim on my Vita. That's really badass. And I feel like where you are right now with that remote play technology, you can only go further with it. You can only implement more features, more connectivity, more interactivity with the games you already have. And you played right, you really could make the Vita an essential part of any PlayStation gamer's repertoire. Which is something that it's most definitely not. It's very niche. It's very Sony. I don't want to say fanboy, but Sony diehard. And it doesn't have to be. So I hope that Sony sees these people playing, AAA titles on the Vita, and they take that hint and they keep it rolling. Because I mean, if you advance this aspect of the Vita, it can only get better. So Sony, ears open, eyes open. Let's do this. Alright, well, enough about PS3. Let's move on to the Xbox 360. Not a whole lot going on in the world of Xbox right now as we all await the 720 or whatever they want to call it. I'm going to stop doing these air quotes because I look like a fucking idiot and you probably hate it. So the Xbox 720, as it's called right now, is garnering a lot of the attention from Microsoft, but that doesn't stop them from shilling out new collector's editions of 360s, and what better game to do it with than Halo 4, which is coming out October 21st of this year. And they're offering a transparent Halo 4 themed 360. Apparently it's got blue lights and Halo sounds, so for anyone who's owned or fiddled with the Star Wars Xbox 360, you know that it made the R2-D2 noises when you open the disc tray. I'm assuming it's going to be much the same, where either the power button or the disc tray makes Halo noises. There's probably lights in the transparency somewhere. But it also gets you 2 matching transparent controllers that have the lights as well, which is actually really cool, because up until now, 360 controllers have really just been an assortment of colors and to some extent textures with the Chrome series, but they've pretty much been standard fare. The only way to get like a transparent, pimped out lighty controller is to get like a third-party one, which for the most part are shit. So it's kind of cool to see Microsoft doing an official controller that you might consider pimped out. But it doesn't stop there. It also gives you vouchers for in-game DLC and DLC for Avatar. It also includes a headset and a copy of the game. So that's $400. Gets you all that. You get you the system, 2 controllers, vouchers for DLC, a headset, and the game. Not bad for $400. And they're also selling the controllers separately for $59.99. Now, it's not the same controllers graphically, design-wise, that there are in the bundle, but they're still Halo 4 controllers. They're still transparent. They still have lights. So that's pretty cool. So they're going to be separate for $59.99. Moving into the world of multi-platform gaming, this past week EA decided to reveal Battlefield 4 without actually revealing Battlefield 4. For those of you who are wondering what the fuck I'm talking about, on a splash page on Origin this past week, they had a pre-order ad for Medal of Honor Warfighter, which is their next Medal of Honor game. And underneath the title of Medal of Honor Warfighter, it said, "Pre-order now for your guaranteed Battlefield 4 beta access." So apparently you can get into the beta before they've even announced the game. Interestingly enough, I mean, it was taken down within a matter of minutes. Didn't matter because the entire internet had screenshots of it and was aflame with the ideas of Battlefield 4 being confirmed. I'm not that excited because I'm really not that pleased with Battlefield 3. I thought it was in many ways a step back from Bad Company 2, which is considered by, I think, even DICE to be a sub-series of Battlefield, not even the main canon franchise. But I mean, that's another discussion for another day. So Battlefield 4, we all knew it was coming, but apparently you might be able to get beta access by buying Medal of Honor Warfighter. And I'm going to be honest with you, I have looked at some videos and screenshots of Warfighter, and I gotta say, I don't hate it. I don't. And I wasn't really a big fan of the last Medal of Honor game, but I will say that Warfighter does look like it could be, I don't want to say fun because I haven't played it, but it looks like it could be interesting, and it looks like it could be, a faster-paced alternative to the Battlefield series. It kind of, I have a feeling that ultimately EA is going to make Medal of Honor into their Call of Duty. There's their Battlefield, which is their Battlefield, and then, which, is slower paced, tactical, team-based, and then I have a feeling they're going to make Medal of Honor the faster paced, running gun type of game that Call of Duty is. So, yeah, it looks like it could be good, though, so might want to keep your eyes open for that. Now, moving on to PC gaming, this is going to be the bulk of the news for this week. For any of you who are PC gamers, you already know that the Steam Summer Sale has in fact arrived and is in full swing, and you are fucking broke. Right? Me too. But not a bad thing. You've got a bunch of new games. So, people thought it wasn't going to come. I figured it had to come. We just had to wait for it. So it's going to be running till the 22nd of this month. So looking at the calendar on my computer and doing horrible math in my head, we've got 6 days left. They've gotten some pretty good deals so far. A lot of AAA titles. Skyrim has gone on sale, so I had to go buy that. Jesus Christ, it's only the third version of that game that I own. What else has gone on sale? Rage has gone on sale. Most of the Assassin's Creed series, plethora of Valve titles. Saints Row the Third has gone on sale. Batman. So, I mean, it's, again, continuing the tradition of giving you quality games for extremely low prices that you can't say no to. And fuck you if you try, you're going to buy it anyway. It is a little different than the past summer sales, or not even summer sales, the past seasonal sales, where there are the daily deals, which are stable from the past sales, and there are also the bundle deals, which, I mean, for the most part, unless you own 75% of what's in that bundle, it's a great fucking deal. I mean, you're paying $50 for like $400 worth of shit. I don't even understand how they do it. Which have also been staples of past seasonal sales. And they've introduced two new elements to the sale. One of them is what they call community deals. And pretty much what they do is they just put up a poll and they say, which game do you want to be on sale next? And the community votes, and whatever tallies the most votes goes on sale for, I want to say, the next 8 hours or so, 7 or 8 hours. And then, while that game's on sale, you got the next 3 games that you can vote on, and so on and so forth. So that's a really cool aspect of it, getting, the gaming community involved. And it's also a dick move because it makes you want to buy it because it's the game you voted for. So you're like, well, I gotta own it now. I voted for it. What the fuck? So it's another trick by Valve to just take all of your money. And then, lastly, they have something called flash deals, which are new as well. And those are pretty much, see, they say flash deals in your head. That's like, oh man, I've got like 30 minutes to buy this game before it's off sale. Not really. From what I've seen, they seem to vary between 8 and 3 hours a piece. And they cover, from what I've seen, a much wider range than the community deals. It looks like the community deals strictly deal with A to AAA titles from past and present, like very identifiable games that will be easy to vote on because you know what they're all about. With the flash deals, what I've seen is there's a lot more low-key and indie titles added into those flash deals as well. And I mean, they don't differ in terms of deals. They're still up to like 85% off. So I do like that portion of it as well, where they can get some of the lesser-known games out there and hopefully bought that people can experience. They've also included indie bundles in the daily deals for so far every day. They're up to indie bundle 3 or 4, which is really cool too, giving the indie community a bit of help of getting their name and their games out there at affordable pricing. And fucking Steam. Only Steam could make me actually want to go to GameStop, right? I mean, only Steam, because normally I don't want to go to GameStop. It's expensive, and I used to work there, and I don't like them. But they are offering 30% bonus trading credit towards Steam gift cards. So I guess if you got games to trade in and you really want to get shit on the Steam summer sale, go to GameStop and trade it in and get gift cards, because that's probably going to be your best bet. I never thought I'd be plugging GameStop, but what the fuck? Only Valve. Only Valve. Alright, so this is going to be pretty much the meat of what I'm going to talk about today. I know I've already been going for a little bit, but this is going to take up a bulk. Last week, Electronic Arts came out in an interview and publicly criticized the Steam sales model in terms of, their seasonal sales. It was during an interview with GamesIndustry.biz, and it was David DeMartini, who's the Senior Vice President of Global E-Commerce for Electronic Arts, which is a huge title. I mean, Senior Vice President of Global E-Commerce. That's like 18 syllables. Just call you the leader of the internet for EA. It's a better title. Sounds better too. But he was asked in the interview whether they plan to follow Steam's model of steep discounting. And Mr. DeMartini said, and I quote, "We will not be doing that. Obviously, they think it's the right thing to do after a certain amount of time. I just think it cheapens your intellectual property. I know both sides of it. I understand it. If you want to sell a whole bunch of units, that is certainly a way to do that, to sell a whole bunch of stuff at a low price. The game makers work incredibly hard to make this intellectual property, and we're not trying to be Target. We're trying to be Nordstrom. When I say that, I mean good value. We're trying to give you a fair price point, and occasionally there will be things that are on sale that you could look for a discount. Just don't look for 75% off going out of business sales." Let's just go back and pick that apart a little bit. He thinks that it cheapens intellectual property. Okay, I gotta give him that. I mean, that's really not, a factual-based argument. It's more of an opinion. And, one certainly could see Steam selling games at up to 85% off as a cheapening of intellectual property. Personally, I don't, per se, but mainly that's because I'm a cheap bastard and I have no money. But, no. Honestly, I don't necessarily agree with that aspect of it. I think that, if anything, it adds value because it allows more people to experience your intellectual property. And that's all I'm going to say about that, because I'm going to get into that aspect of it a little bit more in a second. He then goes on to say that he knows both sides of it and he understands it. I doubt that. I really doubt that you know both sides of it, and I don't think you quite understand it based on the following paragraph. And we're just going to skip ahead a little bit. Game makers work incredibly hard to make their intellectual property. Yeah, I know. It takes like 5 years to make a fucking AAA title. You're just preaching to the choir on that one. We fucking know. It's not rocket science. I get it. And we're not trying to be Target. We're trying to be Nordstrom. No. Fuck you. You can't compare the game industry to clothing stores and department stores. And I'll tell you why. First of all, he's comparing Target and Nordstrom when they're not even the same type of store, really. Nordstrom is clothes, Target is fucking everything. But I mean, I understand, the income brackets he's trying to represent here. But you can't make that comparison, because if you buy something cheap at Target, it's cheaply made, it's probably going to break, and it's probably a piece of junk. And if you buy something at Nordstrom that's super expensive, it's probably extremely well made, and they don't offer lesser brands for lesser prices. But see, that's the fallacy of the argument, is that there isn't a cut rate brand of, let's say Skyrim. There isn't a brand of Skyrim made by Target. There's just the brand of Skyrim made by Bethesda. That's it. There's no cheaper version of it that you can hawk for less and try to undermine the original Skyrim. Okay? That's why that doesn't work. Sure, there's shills of games for, let's say the iOS or Android that are blatant, rip-offs of major titles. I remember reading that one of the original creators of Torchlight just publicly came out and railed an iOS game for practically stealing most of its stuff from the original Torchlight. And I mean, that's going to happen regardless, because it's a strangely monitored and policed, format that a lot of these, third-rate games slip through. But I mean, that's not your Xbox. That's not your PlayStation. It can be your PC. But here's the thing. If you do get a third-rate rip-off game on the PC, you're not getting it through Steam. That's the fucking point. You're getting it through whatever shitty website you, like an idiot, clicked the banner on and went to this awful game that you're trying to download. You're not getting Herpaderp 6 through Steam. Okay? That's why the Target Nordstrom argument doesn't work. It's the same game no matter what price it is. It doesn't diminish in quality if it's $30, and it doesn't gain quality if it's $60. It's the same thing. That's why your argument doesn't work. He also goes on to say that what Steam might be teaching the customer is, I might not want it in the first month, but if I look at it in 4 or 5 months, I'll get one of those weekend sales and I'll buy it at that time at 75% off. It's an approach, and I'm not going to say it's not working for Valve. It certainly works for Valve. I don't know if it works as well for the publishing partners who take on the majority of that haircut. Huh. Okay, I'm not going to pick that apart quite yet. I'm just going to broad stroke this for a minute. EA. do you really think you should be talking on behalf of an entire industry that you really do your best to destroy on a yearly basis? Honestly, you haven't contributed anything worthwhile to gaming since, like, NHL 95. Okay, every year it's the same bullshit from you, and there's no progress, there's just stagnation, and more ways for you to make money. Okay? You follow Activision's lead, adding the premium service to Battlefield 3. Okay? Then you decide, because it did well enough, that you're going to think about adding a premium service to all of your games. Why? Why? I understand why you did it to Battlefield. You needed to compete with Call of Duty. That is what it is. It's shitty, but it is what it is. I get that. Why add it to all of your games? What else are you competing with? Like, what football game is Madden competing against this year that you need to give it premium? Right. There's none. Same thing with hockey. Same thing with Tiger Woods. You don't need that at all. Okay? I mean, really, the only game that I can honestly say that you produce on a yearly basis that is worth any part of its price tag, really, is NCAA. Because it's usually a quality title every year. You have a solid group of people behind it, and it plays well. Alright, so really, you're in no position to be talking on behalf of an entire industry with your track record. No one gives a shit what you have to say. Okay, now going back to that last paragraph, what that sales model does is it encourages consumers, gamers, to purchase games that are normally out of their spectra of comfortability. I know what games I like. I like RPGs. I like first-person shooters. And I like action-adventure games. I don't really like strategy games. I don't really like sports games. I don't really like simulation games. Not really my cup of tea. So, on a normal day, if I have a choice between games, I'm going to stick with what I like. But when they're 75, when they're 50 to 75% off, well, shit, I might get that simulation game or that RTS. Or maybe even that sport or driving game. Because it's a price that I don't feel I'll be losing if I end up not liking the game. Okay, that's why the Steam sales model works so well. I'm going to be completely honest with you. From the games that I have bought on Steam, I would say 70... Nah, it's a little high. I'd say about 65% of all the games that I bought during a seasonal sale, I would never have bought normally, full price. I wouldn't have, because I feel like I wouldn't be getting my money's worth. But for what I paid for them, I certainly feel like I did. You know what? I'm going to open Steam right now. I'm going to go to my library. I'm going to just look at some games that I would never own if it wasn't for, excuse me, seasonal sales. So let's see here. Anno 2070. Real-time strategy. No, not a real-time strategy. Yeah, it's sort of. It's a strategy game. It's a lot of fun, actually. I might have paid the full price for it. I don't know if I would have completely felt good about that. So, Anno 2070. What else do we got here? Cities XL 2012. A lot of fun. Wouldn't pay $40 for it. Would gladly pay the $10 that I paid for it. Let's see. The entire Penny Arcade series. I love Penny Arcade. And, that's not really a great example because they weren't that expensive to begin with. But, like, I just didn't have any, inkling to play them. And then they went on sale. It wasn't in a seasonal sale. It was a weekend sale. But I still ended up buying them. And I ended up having quite a bit of fun while not paying so much. This is the big one for me. Civ 5. I've been gaming for well over 20 years. And in those 20 years, I have heard great things about Sid Meier's Civilization series. Be that as it may, I also knew that it wasn't a genre that I liked, so I've never really played a Civilization game. Civ 5 went on sale one weekend. It was on sale for, like, I think 15 or 20 bucks, and it was normally 50. and me and a bunch of the buddies were on Skype. We were like, you know what? Let's pick up Civ 5 and just play each other this weekend. That sounds like it would be a lot of fun. I picked it up. I loved it. Like, I loved the fucking game so much. And I never would have played it if it wasn't for a Steam sale. And that this is another aspect of it as well that I think EA is overlooking. You know, forget the part where players who wouldn't normally be playing it are playing it. You're also hooking people in to a series. So, like now, I've never played Civ 1 through 4. Played 5, absolutely fucking loved it. You know what? When Civ 6 comes out, I'm going to buy it on launch day because I now love Civilization. It's as simple as that. And I mean, that's a beautiful thing about Steam sales is, you know, it gets you out of your comfort zone. It gets you to buy games you wouldn't normally buy. It gets you to experience gaming experiences you would never normally experience. It hooks you into series, okay? You will buy that sequel when it comes out, probably at full price. You know, if you liked it, and I'll tell you this, when Civ 6 does come out, I will buy it on launch day. And I will pay what they want me to pay. I won't pay $20 for it. I'll pay $50 or $60 for it because it's that good. So, you know, you're, in some aspects, sure, at the time you are paying less for someone's intellectual property. But, you know, you might be hooking them in to all of your IPs in the future. Okay? And it's the same difference where, would you rather have $0? Would you rather have $2? It's as simple as that. People aren't going to buy your games, but when they're discounted, they will, and that's more money than you would have had without putting the game on sale. And that's why Steam sales work. It generates revenue, it generates interest, and it gets people involved. Okay? And I mean, PC gaming wasn't really in, you know, a good place for, I would say, a fairly large chunk of the 2000. You know, the I forget how to fucking say it, but you know, the 2000 and 2010. You know, for that period of time, PC gaming wasn't necessarily in that great of a place. It had been pushed into the periphery. It had been made kind of a niche genre. Whereas in the 90s, I mean, PC was king. PC had Baldur's Gate, Half-Life, you know, Doom, Duke Nukem, the Fallout series. It was big. And then somehow in the 2000s, and I gotta believe it had to do with how affordable and accessible the PS2 and the Xbox were. PC gaming got pushed aside. And now, here we sit in 2012, and PC has made a huge comeback. Huge. You know, it's almost unbelievable how popular PC gaming is again. Now, part of that is due to the stagnation of the console gaming in general. You know, like Xbox 360, PS3, yes, they're certainly better than the PS2 and the Xbox, but they're not different per se. They just look better. But they don't allow you to necessarily do more. Whereas with PC games, you know, I mean, Christ, if you want to play Borderlands 2 on the PC and use full advantage of its physics, you actually need a physics-based graphics card just to get those physics to work. That's not something you could do on an Xbox 360 or a PS3. Okay, so what originally I think deterred a lot of people from playing PC games really was the price point and the complexity have really come back to be its benefactor, because now you're able you know, to customize it to do more, and it's not, you know, people are willing to pay that money if they can do that much more than the console gaming. That's definitely a part of why PC gaming has made a resurgence. And I got to think that a larger part of it is digital distribution, and at this, you know, at the front of that movement, spearheading it, has been Steam. You know, Steam for many is the only place they get video games now. It is a huge global service, and you know it's had a major hand in bringing PC gaming back up to where it is now. And you know there's no denying how popular it is and how popular PC gaming has become. And I mean, you know, let's just go into Steam here for a second. Well, let's take a peek at the handy dandy flowchart here. So, for community activity in the past 48 hours of the Steam sale, okay, they peaked at 5.16 million individual Steam users logged in. Okay, the lowest they dipped is about 3 million at any given time. That's ridiculous. That is beyond phenomenal in terms of just population and numbers, and that's just Steam. So, you know, EA has every right, you know, to say whatever they want about anybody else, but at the end of the day, the bottom line is they really aren't going to win that argument, because Steam's doing so much more than they are for PC gaming and gaming in general that they really have no ground to stand on at all. And you know, Valve actually came back and answered EA's statement, and for the most part, I'm really not going to get into specifics, because for the most part they said what I said, really. You know, and it is, you know, making it more accessible to people, pulling people into IPs and, you know, their series, and keeping them on as customers. They've really reiterated all that I've said in terms of why it's a good thing. You know, and they're going to keep on doing it. That actually is the bottom line. No matter what they say, Steam's going to keep doing what they're doing. They're going to be successful, and they're going to help gaming. That's it. They're going to help our industry more than EA is. And gamers realize that. And gamers will support them, you know, as they keep doing this. And I mean, that's the really important thing, is that, you know, you recognize what's helping our industry, you get behind it, and you stick with it until they start fucking up bad. Which, to be perfectly honest with you, I don't see Valve doing at any point in the near future. I mean, they've got a solid business model, they got a good head on their shoulders, they're going to keep doing what they're doing, and it's going to be nothing but beneficial. So, you know, Godspeed, Steam. Keep it real, do what you do. I think that about wraps it up for this week. I got to give a shout out. 2 weeks ago. I didn't do one last week because I was suffering from sun poisoning. I got really badly sunburned because I'm a retarded person, and even though I'm whiter than a fucking elephant's tusk, I decided to not use sunscreen and felt like dying for pretty much the majority of last week. So that's why we didn't have a Monday News Rundown last week. As long as I don't like you guys, I hate you. No, I love you. But 2 weeks ago, I plugged a Xbox Connect active event in Harlem, and I'm hoping that, you know, you guys picked up on that, checked it out. This week, I'm going to plug a game called Slender, and for anyone who's subscribed to our gaming and Reddit, you'll know exactly what Slender is. It is a really scary game. Really scary. Like, I would put it above Amnesia: The Dark Descent in terms of scariness. And it's really impressive because it's developed under Unity, so you know that it's really not that complex. It's not that, you know, it doesn't have that much pizzazz to it. It's a Unity game. It's pretty bare bones, and I think that's actually what makes it a little bit scarier. There's nothing flashy, there's nothing fancy. It's very bare bones. It is what it is, and what it is you are a woman. You are in, I guess it's like a campground or a park or something like that. It's nighttime. It's pitch black. All you have at your disposal is a flashlight. Now you have to find 8 notes that are scattered around this park. 8 notes. For the most part, they're attached to trees and other objects. The caveat to all of this is that you are being followed by the Slender Man, And the Slender Man is a popular urban folklore / myth of a tall, faceless man in a suit, very slender, who will do anything from eat your face to suck your soul out to watch you until you go insane. Like, there's a myriad of different myths, but that's the general gist of it. And he is following you. And you know he's following you because when he gets close to you, your screen starts to become static and distorted. Your flashlight starts flickering, so you know he's somewhere around you. And you're almost guaranteed to see him at some point in the distance. As you're turning, you see him in the distance. The more you see him, the closer he gets the next time you see him. He also apparently has the ability to just teleport wherever he wants at any given time. And so you're always being stalked, and you're always in danger. And if he gets close enough, or you look at him long enough, the game ends. Conversely, if you get all of his notes before he gets you, the game ends as well. But the game is pretty much you playing cat and mouse with a supernatural man in a suit in the woods in the middle of the night. And my sister decided that she was going to play Slender. And from watching videos on the internet, and her general consensus was, well, this doesn't look so scary. I don't know what the fuck everyone else is so scared of. So she starts playing it, and she's, very much full of bravado. And I don't understand. This is, I don't know. This isn't that scary. Oh, look, there's the man. La 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 la, man, 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 man. And then, I would say about 7 to 10 minutes later, I'm in the kitchen getting some food. All I hear is an ear-piercing shriek. And I run into the living room, and she's almost throwing the laptop off of her lap, and then she's seeing the game over screen, which is actually pretty scary by itself. So she screams again, and she's just hitting keys trying to get it to go away. And I'm laughing my ass off because, that's what you get. It's fucking retribution for saying it's not scary. And I'm like, what happened? She's like, I don't know. I just turned around and he was there, and it scared the shit out of me. So it is really scary. I haven't even played it yet because I fully plan, once I get a better camera, to actually stream myself playing it fresh, middle of the night, headphones on, for full effect. I'm not that easily scared, but I do get creeped out, and this game has the potential, sound cranked up, lights off, to really creep me the fuck out. So I'm going to hold off on playing it till I can allow you guys to view my first attempt at Slender. But it's a really awesome game. It's free. It doesn't cost any money. It's free. And they put a lot of work into it. It's a really good game, so I really recommend you guys check it out. It's called Slender. And you can get it at slendergame.com. Like I said, free download. And the webpage is actually really cool too. It's got some story and lore stuff on there. It's really cool. So I really recommend you guys check it out. Help these guys out. Give them some oomph. Give them some momentum to make some truly amazing stuff. And I think that's about it for this week. I will thank you for joining me on this installment of the Monday News Rundown. And I will see you beautiful people next week. Take care.